I hate it. Yeah. Eat this spinach.
A brand new live-action Popeye the Sailor Man movie is officially on the way, bringing one of the most recognizable cartoon characters ever created back to the big screen. After spending decades mostly appearing through comics, animation, merchandise, and pop culture references, Popeye is finally getting another shot at live-action storytelling. The new movie is currently being developed by Chernin Entertainment together with King Features, the company that owns the famous sailor. Even though the project is still in the early stages, it is already being planned as a big-budget feature, which shows that the studios have some pretty big ambitions for the character. The screenplay is being written by Michael Callio, who has worked on projects like Sexy Beast, The Family, and The Sopranos. Because of his experience with character-driven stories and crime dramas, many fans are curious about what kind of direction he'll take with Popeye. There are still plenty of unanswered questions, including who will direct the movie, who will play the legendary sailor, and which studio will eventually distribute it. But development is moving forward, so it looks like Popeye is preparing for a major comeback after spending years away from live-action films. This marks the first live-action Popeye movie since the 1980 adaptation, starring Robin Williams in the title role. That film was directed by Robert Altman, with Shelley Duvall playing Popeye's longtime love interest, Olive Oyl. At the time of its release, critics weren't impressed, and the movie received a lot of negative reviews because many people felt it was too strange and different from what they expected. But over the years, opinions slowly changed. Although it was considered a disappointment by many critics back then, it eventually found a loyal fan base and became something of a cult classic. Financially, the 1980 movie wasn't actually a disaster either. It was produced with a budget of around $20 million and earned close to $60 million worldwide. So even though reviews were mixed, it still managed to make money. Because of that, plenty of movie fans now look back on it much more fondly than they did when it first hit theaters. Its unique visual style, memorable performances, and unusual tone helped it earn a second life years later. Popeye himself has a much longer history than many people realize. The sailor first appeared in comic strip Thimble Theater back in 1929, which means the character has been entertaining audiences for nearly a century. In fact, people celebrated his 95th anniversary this year, proving just how long he has remained part of popular culture. During his peak popularity, he starred in countless animated shorts, television series, comic books, and merchandise, becoming one of the biggest entertainment icons of the 20th century. His influence extended far beyond cartoons, because Popeye became one of the earliest fictional characters to build a massive merchandising empire. His face appeared on toys, clothing, lunchboxes, games, advertisements, and a whole bunch of everyday products. Even today, the character continues to appear on canned spinach sold by McCall Farms. That's a fitting partnership because spinach has always been closely connected to Popeye's identity. Whenever he found himself in serious trouble, eating a can of spinach instantly gave him incredible strength, allowing him to defeat enemies much bigger than himself. Popeye has also stayed surprisingly relevant in modern fashion. A couple of years ago, famous clothing brands like Moschino, Supreme, and A Bathing Ape used the sailor as inspiration for their collections. That shows his appeal stretches well beyond animation fans because younger generations still recognize the character and appreciate his classic design. Even though his popularity isn't quite as massive as it was decades ago, Popeye continues to appear across different forms of media, keeping his legacy alive. Interest in Popeye has also grown online in recent years. Some dedicated fans created a bunch of impressive fan-made movie trailers using modern visual effects. These weren't official projects, but they imagined Popeye as a much more intense, action-heavy hero. Some versions gave him a rugged appearance with a muscular build similar to Dwayne Johnson, turning him into something that looked closer to an epic adventure movie than a traditional comedy. Those trailers attracted millions of views across social media because people enjoyed seeing a fresh take on such a classic character. Although the upcoming live-action film hasn't confirmed its creative direction yet, those fan trailers may give a hint about what audiences would enjoy. Modern moviegoers often expect larger-scale action and adventure, so it wouldn't be surprising if this new version presents Popeye as a tougher, more realistic hero, while still keeping the humor and charm that made him famous. Producers are currently searching for the right studio partner, which means there are still several important pieces being put together before cameras can start rolling. For anyone unfamiliar with Popeye, here's a look at the basic story that made him such an unforgettable character. The adventure begins when Popeye, a rough-looking but kind-hearted sailor, arrives in the small coastal town of Sweet Haven. His main goal isn't fame or fortune. Instead, he's searching for his missing father, hoping to finally discover what happened to him after spending years apart. Because he doesn't know anyone in town, Popeye rents a room at the boarding house owned by the Oyl family. The Oyl family has its own problems. They are preparing for Olive Oyl to become engaged to Captain Bluto, the strongest and most feared man in Sweet Haven. Bluto controls the town on behalf of the mysterious Commodore, and he's known for bullying almost everyone around him. Even though he's physically powerful, Olive isn't exactly thrilled about marrying him. During the engagement celebration, Olive quietly slips away after realizing that Bluto doesn't really have many positive qualities beyond his size and strength. Around the same time, Popeye struggles to fit in with the people of Sweet Haven because the townsfolk find him odd and awkward. Their paths eventually cross, and before long, they discover an abandoned baby left alone inside a basket. Instead of leaving the child behind, Popeye and Olive decide to care for him together. They name the baby Sweet Pea after the town of Sweet Haven and bring him back to the Oyl family's home. This unexpected decision begins changing all of their lives because the baby quickly becomes the center of their little family. Bluto soon discovers what happened between Olive and Popeye, and his jealousy immediately boils over. Furious that Olive ignored him, he brutally attacks Popeye and then punishes the entire Oyl family by placing crushing taxes on their property and belongings. A greedy tax collector eagerly enforces Bluto's unfair demands, making life even harder for everyone involved. Popeye refuses to give up, though. Instead of accepting defeat, he enters a boxing match against the powerful fighter Oxblood Oxheart. Even though the odds are stacked against him, Popeye manages to win the fight and claims a large cash prize. The money helps ease the Oyl family's financial struggles, giving them hope during a difficult time. Soon afterward, something even stranger happens. Popeye notices that little Sweet Pea possesses a remarkable ability. Whenever someone asks a question, the baby whistles if the correct answer is spoken aloud. It almost seems like Sweet Pea can predict the future or somehow recognize the right outcome before anyone else. A constantly hungry drifter and gambler named J. Wellington Wimpy notices this unusual talent as well. He asks Popeye and Olive if he can take Sweet Pea for a walk, pretending to simply spend time with the child. But his real plan is much more selfish. He secretly takes Sweet Pea to the horse races and uses the baby's gift to place winning bets, earning plenty of money in the process. When Olive and her family hear about Wimpy's success, they become tempted to use Sweet Pea's special ability themselves. The baby seems capable of predicting winners, so they believe they could solve all of their financial problems. Popeye, however, isn't comfortable treating Sweet Pea like a tool for gambling. He quickly takes the child away because he believes protecting him is far more important than making easy money. Popeye later earns even more respect throughout Sweet Haven after throwing the corrupt tax collector into the sea. The townspeople finally begin seeing him as a hero instead of an outsider. But this victory doesn't last very long because Bluto starts planning his revenge. And that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we will see you in the next one. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to our channel to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments section down below.